evolution, molecular biology, creationism, and the sharkadoodle-doo mentality, baby, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, where I'm talking about an album tonight that blew my mind, and I think it will blow your mind too. Of course, I'm talking about Evolution by the Hollies. Now, this album, 1967, this band, they have a weird history. They got into a little tussle with the Beatles because I guess George Harrison didn't like their version, the Hollies version of a song off, I believe, the Beatles' Help album. The Hollies covered it, and George Harrison knocked it, like, what are these guys doing, with our song? And a few of the guys in the Hollies had the audacity to snap and clap back at George. And from that day, the Hollies were sort of frowned upon and yet also respected, revered, regarded, etc. And their weird journey in rock and pop and psychedelic and all genres of various rock music began and continued. And I really love this project, this band. I love everything about them. So many great songs. And for the longest time, they kept the lineup together until they just got too physically old and people had to quit. Of course, Graham Nash left, and being kind of the douchebag that he is, he joined up with three other douchebags, actually just two. This other creep called Neil Young would later join. But that's another project. I don't want to talk about douchebags right now. I want to talk about evolution and the Hollies. This group here, who I compare with the Beatles, I'm not even kidding. I literally put just the Beatles and the Who ahead of the Hollies. I almost put this band ahead of the Rolling Blunders and Mick the Creep and Keith, the fucking drug addict guy on guitar. And, I respect Brian, even though he's kind of a loser drug addict too. But when I think of the Rolling Blunders, it's like I can't stand the Glimmer Twins, and I like Brian. And then when Brian leaves the band or is fired or quits or whatever, I don't know. I know he was later murdered in his swimming pool, or he was electrocuted by the pool light. Me being a swimming pool tech, I have my suspicions there. But anyway, let's talk about the Hollies instead. Let's keep it interesting rather than talk about Mick and all that. This band deserves the accolades that they only sort of get. They deserve much more. And all the glory going to Mick and, the Ruddles and Ron and Dirk and, Pete Townsend and those other British bands. The Hollies, Oh, you guys, I forgot the douchebags too from America. I mean the Birds. Of course, let's not forget them. McGuinn and Clark and head lead douchebag Crosby. Somehow the Hollies don't get into the top 60s respect, like the top 10 or something. I mean, in some people's view, they do. In a lot of people's views, but coming from my view, Clark the Shark, I just don't see these guys getting all the cred and accolades they deserve. So many great albums, so many great songs, so much talent in one band. And this album, Evolution, 1967, isn't even close to their best album, but it's so damn good. The album Butterfly, which would come later, is incredible, as many of you know. But this band, with all these great guys, Tony Hicks and, that lead singer, of course, Bobby Elliott on drums. Keith Moon gets all the glory. So does Lars Ulrich from the Beatles. And Lars is also in the Rolling Blunders. He moonlights in both bands. And he fucking sucks in both. But Bobby Elliott truly is an amazing, great, incredible drummer on the level of Keith Moon, but he doesn't get the Keith Moon level kind of cred, no way. But to musicians like me, yours truly, Clark the Shark, your humble servant here from the Golden EIB Sharkerphone, it's not a microphone, you guys. I'm not a mere mortal. I am a guy that runs a sharkulation. And let me tell you, evolution is bullshit, because I know that the earth is neither 6,000 years old, nor is it 4.54 billion years old. I created the earth 15 minutes ago, and I just keep creating it over and over. Me and a bunch of guys who wear blue tights, and they have blue wrenches and blue screwdrivers, everything they have, little blue golf carts, and we all build time 1 minute at a time. And every now and then you might find a pair of blue channel locks, or like a blue, little electronic tester with two little blue wires. There's not like a lead and a load, or a ground, or there's no green or red or any of that, or black. It's just blue. And me, Clark the Shark, here in the Sharkulation, which Elon Musk sadly but vainly discovered. He discovered that I, Clark the Shark, really do create and make everything. And in fact, there is no God. It's just me, Clark the Shark. And right now I'm talking about Evolution by the Hollies, 1967. This amazing album. It's incredible, you guys. Now their journey, their path would be marked always along the way by strange quirks. Now this is the band that does that song, long cool woman in a black dress, or like a bad dress or something. Sounds almost like Creedence Clearwater, or maybe like, I don't know, like Zeppelin. Just a really heavy song, and weirdly, they didn't get all famous from it. And they didn't change into sounding like that all the time. It was just a one-time thing and a one-time fling, which often happens with the fabulous, amazing, incredible Hollies. These guys will try something once and never try it again. That's who they are. That's how they are. And that's kind of like me, Clark the Shark. I don't get into a genre like punk rock and stay there forever, like a bunch of fucking creeps like Blink-182 or Green Day. And I don't get into shitty rock like Douche Grohl and the douche fighters, and stay there. I like to mix it up and change, even if it means failure, uh, and not a lot of money made, or even if no one's even barely listening at all. I care about what I listen to, and I care about um, quality, you guys. I don't care if anyone's listening or anyone gives a shit or gives a damn. That doesn't matter. And neither do the Hollies. These guys are always doing something different every song. They never sound like the Hollies. Harry Nilsson kind of does that. The Who were doing that for the longest time. The Beatles do that, we know. The douchebags do that. McGuinn and Clark and head douchebag Crosby, and I mean the Birds, they do that. There's a lot of bands that mix it up and do that, but eventually a lot of bands settle in on a sound where they're like, okay, we're going to sound heavy rock every time from here on out now because we want to be cool with the cool kids at school, who smoke marijuana behind the library. Now we know who is feathering our nest and coining our coffers. Yes, many bands do that. They get into heavy metal and they stay heavy metal, or they get into punk, or they get into grunge, or they get into indie, or they get into country or rap or hip hop, and that's all they do forever. Well, that's fucking boring. That fucking sucks. And that is not what the Hollies do. It's not what all the quality great rock and roll bands do. They mix it up and do it different every time, where it's beyond the Beatles. It's just fucking weird. And I love it. Me, Clark the Shark, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, where I may be a creationist, but I believe in evolution, baby. And when we're talking about the Hollies' evolution, 1967, this pop psychedelic pop, whatever, psychedelic rock album, it's good enough for Clark the Shark's Underground Garage, Little Sharky, right here on the Fabulous Show. It's going to get 3, I bet, you guys. Oh, it gets 4. Wow. All Music, Encyclopedia of Pop Music, Sounds, all give it 4, baby. They give it even better grades, plural, than I, Clark the Shark, thought that they would. I thought this would get a 2 and a 3 because I bought this album when I was 18 in 1983, and I liked it, which means liberals won't like it. But here I'm shocked to find that All Music likes it. I wonder what the cowards at Rolling Stone would have graded this album. I'll bet you they would too give it a 4. They're even a little worried, like what Clark the Shark might think. I think at this point, who knows? 1-800-449-8255 on the Fabulous Clark the Shark Show, where I'm bitter, aggravated, edgy, spicy, and a little angry tonight, because when I think about the Hollies, I think about a group that didn't get their, deserved comeuppance or whatever. Like, it could have been better for these guys. Then the heartaches begin. Well, that's what I'm talking about tonight, you guys. Side 1. What a song, Alan Clark. Usually Alan Clark, Tony Hicks, and Graham Nash write the material. And stop right there, baby, if you don't believe it. A song by Nash. I like Graham Nash much more with the Hollies than I do when he's with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Douchebag. I love that project too, but I don't like those people. I like the Hollies, And it seems like Graham Nash was here amongst the good guys, and he left and he went over to the bad side. And I'll never forgive him, me, Clark the Shark. But Water on the Brain by Clark. Awesome, you guys. Lullaby to Tim by Nash. Side one's awesome. Every single song is really good. Have You Ever Loved Somebody? You guys all know that song's awesome. And You Need Love, me, Sharky. I get love. I'm married, you guys, but you know, if I don't get it, it's probably my fault. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. But I know all of you out there need love. Clark and Nash together wrote that little classic. And, if you want to hear melodic, polished psychedelia that isn't too pop, that rocks, it's this album, you guys. Of course, the next album, Butterfly, is amazing. But this album is a setup. It's almost like really polished $1 million demos that they're showing here, these songs, and getting you ready for an amazing album. Rain on the Window, Clark, awesome. Headed for a Fall, that could be about me, Clark the Shark. It's, it's written by Alan Clark. What an amazing singer. Ye Old Toffee Shop. I love that song. Nash and Clark. Side 2 is incredible, you guys. When you start listening to this album, you will, your brain's dopamine, pleasure, cylinders will be electrifying. Because when your light's turned on, baby, you won't leave me, Clark the Shark. The Games We Play, the final song on the album, is amazing. Clark and Nash. I would say this is more psychedelic rock than psychedelic pop, but it's definitely pop, you guys. And it's definitely awesome atmospheric psychedelia. But it's just good music. It's none of that. It's a quality listening musical experience. Hicks, Nash, Clark, Elliott, all great guys. Maybe not so much Nash, but, the other guy said, we were trying to have a harmonious band, and Nash was always just being a douchebag. And the other guys were like, what's your problem, man? What's wrong, mate? We got a good thing going here, and he's like, I just, I hate myself. I'm leaving. And he left, you guys, and he went and jammed with Stephen Stills and David Crosby. I mean, how fucking weird is that, you guys? But they did form something incredible, amazing. The first Crosby, Stills, Nash is awesome. And then when Neil Douchebag joins, it fucking gets even better. Because as much as he is a fucking douchebag, I love his fucking music, you guys. Neil Young. After the douchebag, awesome. Everybody knows This Is Nowhere. Incredible, awesome, you guys. But in some weird, twisted way, Evolution is the creation of the Hollies. And in these times, in these days, long before, things were better and more harmonious here, when psychedelia reigned supreme in 1967, right here on Little Sharky's Underground Garage. But I should say here, this is a polished, highly professional garage of melody, atmosphere, textures, pastels, painted on a canvas that is glorious. The Hollies Evolution. What an album this is. What a listening experience. I have to carefully review all of their albums, especially the next one, Butterfly, Dear Eloise and all that, you guys. And, Pegasus the Flying Horse, amazing, awesome music that takes you on such a great journey you could cry. It's so incredible. I miss these times, you guys. They were beautiful, magical, psychedelic times. And I wasn't even here. I was only 2 years old back in the 60s in 1967. But as a little baby, as a little toddler, just shitting and pissing my diapers, I knew. I was only 2 or 1.5. I knew the music was incredible. And I knew the times they were incredible. And as I grew to be 10 years old in 1975, I was always looking back at the 60s and reminiscing, even though I hardly lived it at all. And it wasn't just because the Beatles were back there or, because the Dodgers won a couple of World Series. That wasn't it, you guys. It wasn't because of Drysdale and Koufax and the Dodgers or, Vietnam or any of that. It was because of the Hollies and, Tony Hicks and all these guys, Bobby Elliott's drumming, Graham Nash when he was fucking cool before he turned into just another douchebag. These guys, you guys, all 5 of these talented, amazing Holliesmen. Alan Clark, one of the greatest singers in the history of rock. Fuck that. And one of the greatest singers in the history of all genres of music. Tony Hicks, lead guitar, rhythm guitar. I mean, these guys better be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They are all first-rate, high-level. Graham Nash, the cool Graham Nash on guitar. And, of course, Bobby Elliott, one of the greatest drummers of all time. He's right there with Keith Moon. He's better than Lars Ulrich from the Ruddles. And Lars is such a fucking creep. He's also in the Stones. And Bobby Elliott must just be disgusted and repulsed when he thinks of the drumming in the Stones and the Ruddles, because Lars fucking sucks. He should never have been signed. And how he got into both bands, I'll never know. Bobby Elliott should have been the drummer in the Beatles, you guys, and the Who, and the Stones. You fucking name it. He's one of the greatest drummers of all time. Bernie Calvert on bass, too. Let's not forget him. All 5 of these guys are rock legends, you guys. And the way they can turn on a dime and do, like a heavy metal, hard rocking classic, and then disco and American adult contemporary music, The Air That I Breathe, all kinds of different styles. These guys can do it all. They sail under the radar. Not too many people notice them, and yet everybody does. The Hollies, 5 talented geniuses. Forget the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame letting them in. These guys are the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, all 5 of them. In this amazing band that did this incredible creation, Evolution, 1967. Britpop, long before those creeps in Oasis or Blur or any of those fucking morons. This is it done right and done perfect long, long ago. Psychedelic, atmospheric, textured, beautiful, beautiful, lovely little rock songs. Some people think maybe underplayed, not enough music. They've said that about The Who, Tommy, and other albums. But I disagree. Me, Clark the Shark, I think it's done perfectly. It doesn't need one more brush stroke here. No way, baby. Not on this Clark the Shark show from this golden EIB sharkerphone, not a microphone, no way. For I am the most imitated and copied DJ, MC, microphone guy in America. #1 syndicated right here on WABC Radio New York in the mornings. The big talker, me, Clark the Shark, and for a reason. It's because on Venus, Mars, Neptune, Saturn, Earth, the moon, everywhere, you guys, Pluto, every planet in the solar system, but especially Uranus. It's Clark the Shark, baby, and I just gave you the only review that you will ever want or ever need of Evolution by the Hollies, 1967. And I need you to go buy this CD tonight at Amazon, Spotify, iTunes. Buy it from Amazon at my link below, you guys. You don't need to like nor subscribe. I don't fucking care. In fact, don't like or subscribe to me. Don't ever come to me again. But if you came here once tonight, you're going to become addicted to Clark the Shark. You won't be able to stop coming here because just like chocolate fudge banana swirl, you're going to want to fucking come here and lick it up, baby. And I don't mean like Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley. I mean like Clark the Shark. You're going to want to fucking lick me, love me, and kiss me. I'm not kidding. And you won't stop until you bring me and you to ecstasy with Evolution by the Hollies. This amazing, incredible psychedelic pop. Beautiful album. No, it's not real deep. It's not, all political like the Jefferson douchebags or anything like that, and it's not all fucked up like the Who Sell Out. I love those albums too, you guys. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that I love the Hollies more. Only the Ruddles are better. And, because the Ruddles hired Lars Ulrich on drums, that brings them way, way down from #1. And it brings the Hollies way, way up because they got Bobby Elliott. And he takes a fucking shit on Lars when it comes to drumming, baby. I'll take the Hollies any day. Fuck it. This band is amazing. I want you to buy their music, and I want you to get into every one of their albums. And you tell them that you heard it from Clark the Shark, baby, right here on America's #1 syndicated radio talk show for politics, music, and sexual healing. Me, Clark the Shark. You're gonna fucking love it. Be here daily. And don't go in your bathroom thinking about me. That's creepy. You can if you want, all right? But, just don't do it too much. It's not healthy. Your palms will get hairy. And especially you girls, you're disgusting. The way you think of me and objectify me sexually. I don't like it. You can do it if you want. I didn't say don't do it or stop it. This isn't new age self-help. It's just Clark the Shark, Evolution. And once again, I gave you the creation of the Sharky with another review that blew your fucking brain, baby. Blew your mind, people. And I want you to go back in time, go way, way back to when Clark the Shark was only 2 years old, 1967, and get into all the music from then. You don't need to drop acid. You don't need to take mushrooms or smoke weed or fuck all that, that hippie liberal shit. I'd prefer you just to be sober, go to church and listen to Hush Bimbo or Hannity or whatever, dude. Just be straight all day, stay in, watch TV, sleep all day, and don't even masturbate. Just think of me, Clark the Shark. I will be your God. I promise to answer all your prayers, maybe. I'll think about it here in the Sharkulation, because after all of your pathetic little meaningless lives are just a figment of my imagination here in the simulation that Elon Musk accidentally discovered, which is really a Sharkulation because it's all Evolution by the Hollies, baby. And I want you to buy it. and buy it tonight. It's amazing. Don't get into psychedelia for acid. Get into it because it makes you think and it makes you deeper and it frees you. Free your mind and the shark will follow. Don't be so shallow. Listen to Sharky daily right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I'm out of here, people. Peace. Buy this album.